Hi everyone, Velvet here, and I have some stories for you today. But before we get started, can you please do me a huge favor and like, comment, and subscribe? It'll really help the channel out, and it'll get you more videos like this every day. Let's get started. And our first one comes from Antique Garage 8417. Am I the beehole for admitting to my sister that I was not surprised at all that her daughter disobeyed her? My sister was a single mom to my niece, Ellie, for 8 years. Then she met her husband, Rich, and very quickly she ended up pregnant. Ellie really didn't know Rich at all, but by that point she wasn't thrilled. My sister was of the opinion that Ellie would come around in time. Ah, yes, just hope everything works out. After baby Liam was born, my sister set up these cute photo shoots for Ellie and Liam, and she involved Ellie in the pregnancy, which was something Ellie resisted doing, but my sister basically gave her no choice. When Liam was 1, my sister found out that Ellie and her best friend forever, Hazel, was talking about their new half-siblings in their lives. Hazel's half-sister was born a couple months before Liam, and neither their half-sibling, a real sibling. My sister heard Hazel and Ellie say they didn't love or care about their half-siblings, their stepdads, and how they don't have a real family anymore. Hazel claimed her mom replaced her dad, and that she would never want the replacement family. Ellie told Hazel she missed it being just her and her mom. She never wanted a dad like her mom seemed to think so. She also said Liam was just a baby. She didn't get all affectionate and protective like most of the family said she would. She said if Rich took Liam and left for good, she would be kind of glad. My sister contacted Hazel's mom and stepdad and told them Hazel was no longer welcome in her house. When Ellie didn't change towards Liam afterwards, she told her she could no longer see Hazel anymore, and their friendship was over. My sister told me about it at the time, and I asked her how she was planning to do that, and wouldn't therapy be better? She said they just needed to feed off each other too much. She went to their school to try and get them separated, but the school refused. She wanted me to pay for Ellie to go to a private school to get her away from Hazel, but I said no. Now Ellie is 15, and surprisingly, a few except for my sister and Rich, a small bit. Ellie and Hazel are still friends at school and have never lost contact. Apparently, neither girl feels very different either. Ellie now has a half-sister, Olivia, and Hazel has 2 half-brothers. My sister lost her shite when she found out, and when she confronted Ellie. She was told by Ellie that Hazel is the most important person to her, and she would never give her up for them. My sister grounded Ellie and has tried to make her want to stay away from Hazel, but it doesn't work. My sister has brought this up a few times since, finding out the other day she accused me of not even appearing surprised that Ellie disobeyed her. I admit that I wasn't. And I always knew trying to take Ellie's best friend from her would be something Ellie wouldn't go along with. My sister accused me of not being honest with her by not saying this sooner, and of wanting her marriage and family to fail. She also accused me of being arrogant and thinking I know Ellie better than she does. She also claimed I knew and had seen the girls together, which is untrue. Am I the beehole? Wow, your sister sounds really, really stupid. Yeah, you think she's not gonna want to be friends with someone who's going through the same thing she is, having someone, that can relate to you? And plus, come on, man, even when you're grown, if someone says don't do it, you're gonna want to do it, you know what I mean? And this whole strategy of I'm happy, screw you, child, is terrible. And that whole it'll work itself out, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. And then she's surprised that her daughter's rebelling against her. I'm pretty sure as soon as she's able to, 18 or whatever, she's probably gonna ditch him and go no contact with him, for what it sounds like. Because it sounds like her mom is not even trying to make things work. She's just forcing everything upon her. And yeah, of course she's going to see her friend is more important than her family, because her family's making her life worse, while her friend is someone she can actually commiserate with. And that whole end part where she's accusing you of all this, she knows she effed up and she's a bad mom and a terrible parent. And instead of looking inward and, blaming herself and trying to take responsibility and accountability for her actions, she wants someone to blame it on, which is you. Because who cares if you saw the girls together? You're not their parent. And no, why would you want her family to fail? She's doing it herself. And of course you're not surprised. Anybody with a brain can see what's going to happen. OP, you're not the beehole. Your sister's gonna not have much of a family as soon as her child grows up. And our next one comes from Pascal486. Am I the beehole for not going to my son's funeral? When I was 16, I knocked up my then girlfriend, also 16. My parents wanted us to get married. Her parents wanted us to break up. It had been a little bit of a fling, and we definitely weren't in love, so we broke up. We stayed friends, and she would update me about the baby. She planned to raise it with her parents, but I'd be allowed to visit. But 2 months before the baby was born, her family unexpectedly moved away, and forbade me from seeing or talking to her. My parents tried to get illegally involved, but there wasn't much they could do, as we were both underage and ex-girlfriend now lived in a different country. I didn't really have any rights. I was upset, but hoped ex-girlfriend would get in touch with me when she turned 18. She didn't, and I moved on with my life. Went to a uni, got a new girlfriend, didn't knock her up. When we were 22, ex-girlfriend contacted me by email and offered to fly me out to meet my son and be a part of his life. I flew out, but it turns out my ex-girlfriend only wanted a rebound with me because she'd only just broken up with her boyfriend, who she was pregnant with a baby of. My son called the boyfriend Dad. When I explained who I was, he didn't want to know me and said I wasn't his dad. I flew home the same day and refused any contact with my ex-girlfriend or offers to be in my son's life, which I now regret, but I was angry. Eventually, the messages stopped. Just as a side note, I was actually put upon a round-robin email list of ex-girlfriends at Christmas a few years ago. She was back together with her boyfriend, and they were married and had 3 kids plus my son. From all the pictures and stories, they seem like a happy family. From my knowledge, my son didn't ever want to contact me or even remember me. I was angry that my son had a family without me, but I don't really know him. Recently, my son, now 18, died in a car accident. I was sad when I heard, but no more sad than I'd be about a kid that wasn't mine. Ex-girlfriend emailed me for the first time in years to let me know and to invite me to the funeral. I told her I was sorry for her loss, but I didn't go. She sent me a long email yesterday about how disappointed she was in me and how I never stood up as— What do you mean you never stood up? You showed up, or you were 16, or a man, and let my son down. Your son didn't want you. Jeez, don't you love people? I feel like crap. Let me guilt trip you. Sorry, back to the story. I told my parents, expecting them to be on my side, but they are very upset and disappointed in me, saying I'm a bad, heartless person. I don't think I did anything wrong. I wouldn't go to the funeral of a stranger, which is what he effectively was. We had the same DNA, but only met once, 14 years ago. But my parents are mourning as if a grandchild they knew died, and refusing to talk to me. Anything they do or say to me is just that I'm a cruel person. So, am I the b-hole? Edit, I don't have a relationship with an ex-girlfriend at all. We knew each other for 2 months before she got pregnant, and I have outlined this post every time. We have been in contact in the last 18 years. I wouldn't have gone to support her because I don't know her. Edit 2. It was 12 years ago, and he was 6, not 4. Math's not my fort. Edit 3. Nothing about this happened in the United States, by the way, for everyone talking about the law. And look at my profile to see the comments I've made about the legal stuff. I don't mind being called a b-hole, but do mind people getting legal facts wrong. Hi, OP. You know what? I'm gonna say you're not the b-hole, and I completely understand where you're coming from. I was going to say I have family members that I wouldn't shed a tear if we lost them, but I do have someone that I had good memories with, and they were a lot of fun when they were younger. They grew up to be a terrible person, did a lot of terrible things, and they're not here anymore. And I didn't shed a tear. And like I said, I remember the good times and I have good memories of them. But I'm glad they're gone because they grew up to be a monster. Now, I'm not saying your child was a monster, but I'm saying I completely understand someone having your blood, and mine's is even more because I have good memories with them. You have nothing with the kid. You met him once. And yeah, I would feel the same way. Like, I feel bad someone lost their child and they lost, their life at a young age at 18. You have so much life to live. But I would still feel, I'd feel like just how I'd feel a stranger. That was a stranger because I feel bad, but I'm not going to be broken down into tears because I didn't know that person. I don't have history with that person. Like, I would break down into a wreck when my dog dies, but not that's because I have history with that dog. I've raised that dog. So OP, I can absolutely relate to you. And I love how the girlfriend keeps your child away from you for years. Okay, so here's my theory. She wants you to meet him, so, well, she wanted a rebound, but what I originally was thinking was cutting her some slack was that her parents were manipulating her and the kid and putting all this stuff into his head. Maybe that's the case, but then again, when you went down there, it was a rebound. So maybe she just was like, I need someone to help me raise this child because the one I was with is not with me anymore. You know what I mean? But I like how she wants to get on her high horse after keeping the child away from you, running to a completely different new country, saying, oh, you're this and this because you didn't want to come to the funeral. That's a stranger to you. You don't know him. And like you said, it's weird turning up to a stranger of a funeral. To a funeral of a stranger. And your parents, I don't understand them at all. Maybe I'm weird, but I don't get it. Like I said, stranger. And they're over here trying to, like, I'm pretty sure you're already not happy. And then your parents are already piling on to the nonsense. If my parents didn't have my back like that, I'd probably be done with them and probably go no contact. Because they they don't understand where you're coming from. They never even met the bloody kid, and they're acting like this. OP, I feel bad for you, man, but I completely understand where you're coming from. You are not the beehole, in my eyes at least. And our final one comes from Actuary Final 1184. Am I the beehole for telling my mother that she isn't my real family, or only my dad is? I apologize for any mistakes. My parents divorced when I, a 17-year-old female, was 12, because my mother was cheating on my dad with my now stepfather, Carl. My dad has a demanding job, and my mother used it against him during the custody procedure, so until I was 15, I could only see my dad once a week, and every few weeks. It changed when my dad went to court to challenge it, and it changed to 50-50. My dad never said anything bad about my mom to me, but my mother has tried to turn me against him and his side of the family. She has tried to get me to stay with her on my dad's birthday or Christmas, or to celebrate Father's Day with Carl. Her and her stepkids, Leah, a 19-year-old female, Zoe, a 17-year-old female, and Tim, a 13-year-old male. She tried to push me to have a relationship with them when we have nothing in common, always saying we are siblings instead of step-siblings. She declined invitations to parties from my friends because my step-siblings weren't invited, and always tried calling me and Zoe twins. She would also get mad for correcting her. I don't have anything against my step-siblings, but we are not close but we are cordial, and I helped Tim do his homework. But they don't see me as a full sister, and I don't either. She also took us to family therapy, where I basically had to listen to them for hours telling me that I should stop caring so much about my dad. Wow, what a terrible therapist not stopping them. About my dad, when I have a better family with them. The therapist didn't step in, okay. And even tried to push the idea of Carl adopting me. We stopped going to the therapy after the therapist took my side. Oh, okay, my bad. I guess I should finish reading these things. Good therapist. She even forced me to take down the pictures I had of my dad and my dad's family on the walls of my bedroom, and tried to take away the plushie my dad bought for me when I was a baby. The result is that I dislike my mother, and I'm not close to her at all. I don't talk to her about anything. She isn't invited to any of my events or anything. I also don't talk to her about colleges. I will be going out of the country for college, because my dad has to go to France for his company, and since I'm fluent in French, I always wanted to study abroad. When my mother found out, after hearing me talk on the phone with the school, she really got mad and told me there was no way I would go, that she wanted me to stay in the state. We argued, and she told me that if I go to France, we will not see each other often, and that I should stay with my real family. I told her that she isn't my real family. My dad is. I called my dad to pick me up. I am at my dad's right now, and my stepsister's calling me to tell me that I'm a horrible person for saying that to my mother. My dad thinks I might have been too harsh, but he says that I don't have to apologize if I don't want to. I don't know what to do, and I wonder if I'm the beehole. I'm not even gonna call her bio mom. That bio lump of flesh is a terrible, ghoulish, cretinous creature. She cheats on your father when he's out there trying to be a good man and bring home the bacon and keep a roof over your head and, give your children a future. Give his children a future by, having money to send them to college, which sounds like you're going to college. I don't know if your dad's paying or anything like that, but that's pretty cool. And in her twisted little mind, she did nothing wrong and she thinks she's a good person. And she's trying so hard to make this family work because deep down, she knows she effed up and she's trying to use that. And I think she sounds evil. So she's trying to use that. We're a perfect family to stick it to your father over here going to court and trying to, make him not see his child. I'm glad he got 50-50 well, you're probably 18 by now, right? So it doesn't matter. But I'm really glad you're smart enough to not let her corrupt your mind like that. Because your father sounds really good, like really cool over here not trying to speak ill of your mother, which, man, he has every right to. She sounds evil. But of course, the person who cheated, used the courts as a weapon to try to harm a man by using his child, is over here trying to corrupt your mind and turn you against him in the family. Carl sounds like a little punk baby bee over here giving this woman more children. Why would anyone want to reproduce with her? She cheated. You don't think she won't cheat on you? And she sounds like a horrible person. I don't want to have my children tied to this person who we've already seen would use the courts as a weapon. Well, I assume since you're old enough to go to college, you're going to college in France, so I assume you're gonna live at the college or the dorms or whatever. You're gonna live over there, so you don't have to do the whole leave with your dad. But yeah, keep that relationship strong with your dad. Screw your mom, screw Carl, screw the sister too. Over here trying to call you. Why are you defending this woman? She cheated. Of course, I guess because she's with her dad or whatever. But oh god, what terrible people who are going to raise terrible people. OP, not the beehole, and do not apologize to that sack of flesh. And I would just say full no contact with her, Carl, the siblings, all of them. They're all gone. Screw it. Stick with your pops. Sounds like he's got a good head on his shoulder and he's going to be there and be a good parent to you and have your back. Again, OP, not the beehole. Thank you so much for staying with me to the end of this video. Can you please do what I said in the beginning and like, comment, and subscribe? It will really help the channel out and it'll get you more videos like this every day. Velvet out.